Muchachos y muchachas. So I know, and we know, that Hollywood likes to wear their symbolism out in the open to let everybody know what they're into and what they worship. But I had no idea. I recently learned that there is actually a Babylonian gate of Ishtar that is located in the vicinity of Hollywood. Now, what exactly do these deities on this gate represent? Well, there are some biblical references to this, and it is quite jarring as I kept researching. So with that being said, hold on to your butts, secure your wigs, stay right there. We're going to go through it. Really quick, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video, Multi-Collagen by BioTrust. Collagen is often referred to as a modern-day fountain of youth, and for a good reason. Supplementing this powerful nutrient can bring back a youthful glow to our skin, hair, and nails. My favorite source of collagen comes from this amazing mix that I highly encourage my audience to try. It uses a unique blend of the top 5 critically most important types of collagen our bodies need to help bring back the youthfulness into our skin, hair, and nails. You guys can try it out by going to healthwithnatalie.com. That's healthwithnatalie.com, or you can click the link in my description below. So this here is the gate of Ishtar, and what in the world? I was blown away because I have been studying a lot of the Old Testament in the Bible, and there are a lot of references to the deities and the pagan gods that made God very angry. So this here is located in Los Angeles. This is like a outdoor shopping mall of some sort. Now, I have been to this shopping mall before. I just never realized, or I guess I overlooked, I wasn't paying attention at this structure here. But what you guys see in front of you are Babylonian deities, right? We're going to go through this now. The name of this entire thing is the Gate of Ishtar. And we definitely know right here that these two little idols here, this one right here is questionable, but I want you guys to listen to this video that I found, in which what got me looking at this in the first place.
Good evening, godless sodomites. Kneel before your God, Babylon! Making me the highest paid megalomaniacal boy king in all of Babylon!
You see, if you go and visit the very home of the Oscars, where they hold it each year, you can see a plaque on the wall that says the Babylonian Court. The camera shows you the stage, and you see an unmistakable Tower of Babel embedded into the design. Outside of the Kodak Theater, you have the gates to Ishtar, and you have Babylonian gods put on the outside of the gate. They have the exact elephants. They have the same exact gate of Ishtar. They have the same exact Babylonian gods over the top of the gates.
A lot of people come up here and they thank Jesus for this award. I want you to know that no one had less to do with this award than Jesus. He didn't help me a bit. So all I can say is, suck it, Jesus, this award is my God now!
I'm thankful to the Oscar gods.
The other names of the gentlemen are all gods as far as the category concerned?
When you get this little golden statue, you become a star. In the Egyptian culture, they also had a little statue that represented the god Ptah. And see, when an Egyptian king died, it was believed that his spirit went into the belt of Orion, and he then became a star. Up until 1999, the Oscars was held at a building called the Shrine, which was founded by William Florence and Walter Fleming, two high-ranking Scottish Rite Freemasons. Hollywood has long been interested in Freemasonry. Gene Autry, John Wayne, Nat King Cole, Duke Ellington, C.C. DeMille, Clark Gable, Walt Disney, Oliver Hardy, you name it, the list goes on. Many celebrities have come out and admitted their connection to Freemasonry. You can see the checkered floor, you can see the archways, you can see the sun motif in the background. All of these are letting you know exactly who owns this organization. While the world is wandering after all of these celebrities, we would do well to heed the very advice from Jesus' lips himself. In Luke 4 verse 8 it says, "For it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shalt thou serve."
So really interesting. Now let's just take a little dive into the Ishtar Gate lore. So this is it, the Ishtar Gate at Babylon reconstruction, glazed brick, total height 47 feet, width 32 feet, Neo-Babylonian 7th and 6th centuries BC. The Ishtar Gate, and this is a lot referenced in the book of Daniel. It is not Babylon that I have built. Daniel 4:3. The Ishtar Gate is one of 8 gates of the inner city of Babylon. It was built during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar. As you guys may or may not know, in the Bible, in the book of Daniel, King Nebuchadnezzar was a king that was tyrannical. He actually got his dreams interpreted by Daniel, and the dreams were not anything sweet. There was a lot of prophecy, a lot of destruction, things like this. Even Nebuchadnezzar himself it's a weird thing to say that he was blessed to go crazy because he ultimately found his faith in God. But yeah, just a little Nebuchadnezzar Lord, right? So it says, only in the foundations of the gate were found going some 45 feet in the molded unglazed figures. The gateway has been reconstructed at the Pergamon Museum in Berlin. Okay. It was one of the 8 gates in the inner city of Babylon, right? All right. So you guys kind of got a good preface of what that is. Now let's go take it back here. Okay. Because I want to sort of jump around a little bit. Now, this guy right here, I thought was like a centipede or something, like this little wiry thing. And I looked it up, and it looks to be that this was a tree of life. We'll get to her in just a second. That is Ishtar, or what's thought about as Ishtar. But yeah, that is actually a tree of life, as they say it is. And it really... here it is. The tree of life, a depiction of leaves and branches arranged in a node-like pattern, was typically associated with the Assyrian royalty. The pattern was also common for eras of Mesopotamian civilization. The name tree of life has been coined by modern academics. The original name and meaning of the symbol are unknown, but it is thought to represent fertility and the spirit of the land. Motifs similar to it have been used in later Semitic religions, such as the Sephiroth in Judaism, which is interesting. But yeah, so this is the tree of life. And I also read somewhere else that, here it is as well, right here, the tree of life. And you guys are going to see some of these figures kind of repeat itself. But I also read that the tree of life was sort of like this representation between the living world and the underworld. I don't know too much lore on the tree of life, but that is what it represents. And then we come to this guy right here, which is, I believe, called Nisroch. Or Nisroch. I'm not sure about the pronunciation. So Nisroch is an eagle's head. The Assyrian god Nisroch was depicted as an eagle-headed deity with wings and exaggerated muscles. In the sculptural relief from Nineveh, he is sprinkling the sacred tree with water. So that tree we just went through, yeah, this little deity here is sprinkling the tree with water. He's holding a water vessel in the left hand and a fir cone sponge in his right. It was to this god that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, was praying to when he returned from his campaigns in Israel. The previous verse reveals that the angel of the Lord routed the Assyrian army. So this is in 2 Kings 19:36 through 37, where it says, so Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt in Nineveh. And it came to pass that he was worshiping in the house of Nisroch, his god, that Adremelech and Sharezer, his sons, smote him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Armenia, and Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead. And then there's some other parts of the Bible where this is, mentioned. Of course, what I find really interesting, because we're seeing some polytheism now, is the fact that in various parts in the Old Testament, God really, really detested these gods and the worship of such. And he even in the book of Joshua, he goes through, this series of telling the Israelites to destroy these pagan gods, destroy every single morsel of it. Now, they didn't quite destroy everything, which also was an illustrated problem in the book of Joshua, because people fell, in temptation to worship these idols. And it's just crazy, because what do we see today, right? We see people worshiping all types of idolatry. So anyway, okay, so back to this Hollywood gates of Ishtar. So we just learned about these two, Nisroch. Now, this guy, I'm not so sure, okay? Because I at first thought, because of the name of this entire gate, that this was Ishtar itself. Ishtar, we're going to go through her deity, which is, once again, just very jarring because of how this translates in different civilizations, because it was a basis sort of god or goddess. But let's just go through some Assyrian symbolism. Let's go here, because that's Ishtar. We're going to come back to her, actually. Isn't that funny? It's kind of like Starbucks looking. Of course, you guys know Moloch, but that's not what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to this one right here, Marduk. Now, Marduk is a winged deity in the Babylonian, belief. He was also known as Bel, which means Lord. It says meaning of the name bull calf, justice, compassion, healing, magic, sometimes also a storm and agriculture deity. In Jeremiah 50 verse 2, a rallying cry about the fall of Babylon, where Bel is put to shame and Marduk is dismayed. Okay. He's a man wearing a curly beard with a robe covered in circular devices, and he's got a pet servant dragon. Okay. So that's one idea so this is the guy right here. This is one idea of who this deity is, right? And again, we see this, we just went through Nasroch, that deity, the Babylonian deity. This is the tree of life. These seem to be, I haven't looked too much into this symbology right here, but it seems to be that there is this guy right here with the wings. I don't know if this is the same thing as what we are seeing on the gates. Let's also take it to some Assyrian symbology. So we went through the tree of life. I kind of bounced around, just FYI, so I can get like some sort of like holistic view of what these deities were. So a winged bull, it looks to be like they have a lot of winged bulls. So this is Marduk once again, right? So this is one idea of what I think it might be, this winged guy right here. And then, like I said, the gate of Ishtar is a clue, right? Ishtar was an actual deity in Mesopotamian beliefs. And this one I recognize because of a dig I did earlier on, what is her name? Tanit, aka Astarte, aka Ishtar, right? So Ishtar is thought to be this goddess that they worshipped. Now, it does become dark because this goddess is the basis or the influence for Astarte / Tanit. Now, you guys remember Tanit was a deity that I explained to be, thought to be Baal, the god Baal, or the demon god Baal, also aka as Moloch. That was thought to be his consort, his wife, his queen. Let me just look up really quick. Ishtar. I had all of this. Here we go. Here we are. Okay, so Ishtar right here. So Ishtar, as you guys can see, it's highlighted in multiple parts right here in Wikipedia. It is a very quick reference. So Ishtar is thought to be later influenced as the Phoenician Astarte, who in turn possibly influenced the development of the Greek goddess Aphrodite. Now, the reason why this is a very similar goddess to Tanit, Astarte, is because they are the goddess war and love and sexuality and fertility in the beliefs, right? So right here you can say Canaanite equivalent Astarte. Now the thing about Astarte is that right here, so this is the whole thread that I did. If you guys are on Twitter, go follow me on @NatalieDenise_. So the reason why this is so, widely believed to be Tanit as well is because of the common theology of her being worshipped for fertility, war, sexuality, and what else? War and beauty, I think. So this is Tanit, Astarte, and the reason why this becomes daunting is because it was believed that this deity, because she is the consort to Baal, that she required some sort of sacrificial offering, and that would be the little ones, the tots, right? So that's where this gets really jarring. Now in Jeremiah, I believe this is Jeremiah 7. In Jeremiah 7:18, it says the children gather wood and the father, where it's actually talking about God's anger rising against people worshiping these deities. And it is believed that the queen of the heaven that is mentioned in these verses is in fact Ishtar, what they would worship /Astarte / Tanit. So it says, so do not pray for, I'm going to start in 16. So do not pray for this people, nor offer any plea or petition for them. Do not plead with me, for I will not listen to you. Do not see what they are doing in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. The children gather wood, the fathers light the fire, and the women knead dough and make cakes to offer to the queen of heaven. They pour out drink offerings to other gods and arouse my anger. But am I the only one they are provoking, declares the Lord? Are they not rather harming themselves in their own shame? So that is illustrative of God's, anger and jealousy for these people worshiping these pagan gods, such as the Queen of Heaven, which we are thinking that this is, Ishtar. Let's read another one. This is Jeremiah 44:15-19, where it says, then all the men who knew their wives were burning incense to other gods, along with the women who were present, a large assembly, and all the people living in Lower and Upper Egypt said to Jeremiah, we will not listen to the message you have spoken to us in the name of the Lord. We will certainly do everything we said we would. We will burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and pour out drink offerings to her, as just as we and our ancestors and our kings and our officials did in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. That's the thing. Like, they just kept worshiping these deities, and it does make sense. I mean, this is polytheism as you see it in the Babylonian culture, the Canaanite culture, right? Look at all these little demon gods here, right? So they would worship all of these different guys. And as the Queen of the Heaven, it would make sense because she was equivalent to Tanit, Astarte, right? And that would be, those deities would be the consort to this guy right here, Baal. So it makes complete sense why God was so angry that they would, do this type of worship. And of course, it is illustrative over and over again that God hated this culture because, as I mentioned, there was some sort of sacrificial offering. Look at this in 2 Kings 17:7. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire. They practiced divination and sought omens and sold themselves to do evil in the eyes of the Lord, arousing his anger, right? So this is Israel being exiled because of idolatry. And yeah, here it is right here. Here it is. Let's go to 2 Kings starting at 16. They abandoned all the commandments of the Lord their God and made for themselves 2 cast idols of calves and Asherah pole. They bowed down to all of the host of heaven and served Baal. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire and practiced divination and soothsaying. They devoted themselves to doing evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking him to anger. So the Lord was very angry with Israel, and he removed them from his presence. Only the tribe of Judah remained, right? So again, it just all kind of surrounds it. It comes full circle. All of this worship, right? So it just brings me back to this, right? Whether this guy right here is Marduk, but this is also being built with the name of Ishtar, as we all just learned who Ishtar is, this evil woman goddess. It's like a demon goddess deity that was a consort to the demon god Baal. I thought that was so interesting. I mean, and once again, this is in Hollywood, right? This is like, and we heard through that video how there's also other context clues to this, but it was just these three deities that I wanted to really flesh out, lack of better words. I really wanted to go through and explore, you know, what the belief system behind this was and how angry it made God. And now you see why, right? Because they believed in the most evil of things. So guys, let me know what you think about that. Did you know all of this about the Gate of Ishtar in Hollywood? You know, I'm sure people who live in California or who have visited Los Angeles know about this whole, you know, gate arch, whatever. But it's just interesting that it's Hollywood. They have the Babylonian Tower inside the Kodak Theater, and you know, all of this is just there in our faces. So guys, let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you like this video in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.